Hi folks, welcome to the show. It's Tim, Plumbing with Tim here. Today I'm going to show you a different type of a fill valve that goes into a toilet. Many of you plumbers have seen these, and a lot of you homeowners have, but there's a lot of you people who have probably never ran across one of these types of fill valves for your toilet. Most people are used to seeing the standard fluid master that's in millions of toilets all over the world and everything, and that's the standard, and that's what you're comfortable of seeing and working with, and everybody's happy and stuff. But I'm going to show you a different type today, and I really don't have any goods or bads about them. They're just a little bit different of a setup. So let's go ahead and check it out. Now, like I mentioned, the typical fluid master fill valve that is in so many homes these days is a pretty plug and play and stuff, and you can actually watch a video where I show you how you can make some adjustments on here. And you got your little knob where you can adjust your water and stuff, and your little float that comes up and down. It's pretty straightforward. Well, I'm going to show you a different kind, and when I first saw it years ago, I had no idea on how to work with them or how to make adjustments on it, and that's what this video is all about. Okay, so what we're working with today is the Korky Anti-Siphoning fill valve for your toilet. Now, you say the word anti-siphoning. What exactly does that mean? Anti-siphoning valves are put in to a lot of toilets as well as other plumbing fixtures. In some municipalities, they require you to have these in the toilet. Now, what is anti-siphoning? What does that mean? That means that when the toilet fills up to the level that it's needed to, and this little guy says, okay, shut the water off, when it stops the water flow, there's a little gauge inside of here, a little check valve, as minute as it may seem or look, that stops that water immediately in where it's at, and doesn't allow that chain effect for water to seep back into the freshwater system. Thus, anti-siphoning, almost like a gas can that you're siphoning gas from. Anti-siphoning Korky fill valve. Alright, so now that I've introduced this different type of fill valve, it pretty much installs the same way as your fluid master does. This little nut that's down here at the bottom, see that? That's the nut that is going to hold this thing in place when you install or take it out. You know, the thing sits down inside of the tank, and then your little nut comes up and it tightens to the bottom, me and my fumbly fingers, tightens to the bottom of the tank and holds this apparatus in place with a rubber seal and all that goodness, as you can see. Now, unlike the fluid master fill valve, it doesn't have one of those little fancy knobs that you can adjust the water level. It doesn't have one of those little slip nuts that you can pop it loose and pull the thing apart. The only way to adjust your water level on one of these things, there is no lock nut, like I said. You take and you turn and you pull upwards. See that? And now it becomes twice as long. And it goes in small increments. Once you get it to the desired height you want it, you just take and twist it back the other way and it locks into place like that. All right, I don't know what kind of toilet you'd be putting something like this in at that height, because that's a lot of water. So, but we're going to push this back down. It's not rocket science. Down to an average point. All right, and then that just locks into place like that. There's no adjustment screw, nothing like that. On to the next feature of this that separates this a little bit differently than the fluid master fill valve. Now, on the fluid master fill valve, you'll notice that there's a float that goes up and down on this thing that regulates the height of that water and stuff. If you go ahead and you look over here, I don't know if you can see that very well, there's a little writing on here that says water level right there, and there's a little opening. Inside of this box is your float. Alright? So as the water level goes up in your toilet, it fills up inside of this little box, which takes and pushes that float up high enough to go ahead and cut this thing off. This particular Korky Anti-Siphoning fill valve also has a water regulator, okay? This little knob right here, it regulates the amount of water pressure that's coming into your toilet. If you want it wide open or you want it just partially open, that's up to you, all right? That's not the anti-siphoning, by the way. This is just a water regulating little valve that comes with this apparatus. Now, let me take a look underneath the hood, and let's take a look at that float. So the first thing we're going to do before we get in here to this float is we're going to go ahead and we're just going to take and pop this piece off, just like that. That's your water fill tube. All right? And we're going to pry this little plastic cap, silver cap, up and off of there, like that. See that? Now look inside of there. See this? There's your float that goes up and down. See that? Very, very, very small. There's not that slide float that works with a Fluid Master. And up underneath here is a diaphragm. So once that float goes all the way up, it pushes this down and closes that diaphragm, which closes the water supply. And at that point, inside is a small check valve, which allows it not to siphon back into fresh water. So that being off and all that good stuff, I can take easily, put my cap back in here, just like that, come around to this side, take my other piece, slide it back into my water supply size, just like that. That is the Korky Anti-Siphoning fill valve. Do I like them? It all depends, all right? They're a little different, so if you see these, don't get all intimidated. Just go back and watch the video that I'm putting out now, and it'll show you how you can make your water adjustments and do some troubleshooting, especially if you get some trash or debris that ends up here inside of the diaphragm where your float gets stuck. That's how you operate the Korky Anti-Siphoning fill valve. Hey, that's all the time we have for this one. I really appreciate you guys taking a couple minutes and just let me demonstrate and show you how the Korky Anti-Siphoning fill valve actually operates. Because some of you guys, and even some of you new plumbers, see these, you're like, wait a minute, I haven't worked on one of these. Well, now you can. It's very basic, pretty simple, and just like anything that's man-made, they're going to break. So after a while, if you have to, and this thing's got to come out, put what you know that works, like the Fluid Master, okay? These aren't too bad. They've been around for a while, and Korky is a pretty good brand name for that matter. Thanks so much. If you got any questions, any comments, leave them down below. Give me a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe. Till next time, this has been Plumbing with Tim. Keep plumbing.